All right. Despite technical errors, despite technical problems, I am here. But you would expect difficult, complex technical errors for a Rolemaster game because that's the way it works. So here we are. This is the first of 3 sessions of Retrocember Rolemaster. We are playing actual Rolemaster. You can see that I have a copy of Arms Law with the cover fell off of it. So I've got that there. And a whole bunch of other things. We are playing in Chris Kutelik's Slumbering Ursine Dunes. That setting there to try that out. So let me talk a little bit about the setup for this so that anyone watching at home and so everybody here is on the same page. So what I've done is I've run Rolemaster for years and years. I love lots of it. There's lots I don't like. So what we're running today, is very close to what I ran for our house group for years. It's a simplified Rolemaster. I've reduced some of the bells and whistles. I've gone to the stuff that I like, and I've made things easier. Our players are going from pre-gens that I've built for them. And generally, I'm focusing on what I like and cutting away some of the things I don't like. We are playing Rolemaster Classic, but I've stolen a couple of bits from the Rolemaster Standard system in this. This is an OSR setting. I won't say we go full OSR, but I will be rolling for Wandering Monsters and the classic bits that are in there. But we're going to have a chance to explore a striking setting here with a very interesting and weird tone in the Slumbering Ursine Dunes. So this could be deadly. You guys have some hero points to save yourselves. Those are a resource that you can husband throughout the series here. This is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts. So as with all those games, we are using some safety tools. So I go with the default X card. If we hit descriptions or subject matter or things that you're uncomfortable with, my usual story is to tell you a story about a friend that I played with for years and years. I didn't realize he had strong arachnophobia. And after one session, he was like, you have to stop with the giant spiders or I am going to quit playing. So if we hit some stuff you don't care for, you can do that. You can also send a message in the chat. So that is there on the table. I do that. If you do hit something that we want to cut by, I may stop and ask you about that. But generally, it's a good, simple way. It's the easiest tool for me to use in this situation. So we have 4 excellent players with us today. And I know that Sherry has played Rolemaster before. Victor, have you played Rolemaster before?
only slightly and in passing.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, fair enough. Oh yeah, no, I know a lot of people who've had that. Made a great character and then they died.
No, we never even got to the we played. It was a con game and they decided, let's make characters before we get going.
Oh God, no.
So that's all we did. I had a good character.
That is the worst. Oh my Lord. Patrick, have you played Rolemaster?
My total experience with Rolemaster is I have on occasion opened up a Rolemaster book and laughed at all the charts.
Absolutely. That's the best way to go. And Horst, how about you?
I played twice in the late 80s, died in the second session. I never came back.
Okay, fair enough. That's a lot of people's stories right there. We ran it for years, and it was one of the early sort of switch over from D&D games for our group, and we played through multiple editions. And I ran many years of it set in Glorantha, so it was a weird mixing of all kinds of OSR bits there. So people have chosen their pre-gens, and as I understand it, we have the Bard, Fighter, Mentalist, and Sorcerer, right? Okay.
Yep.
So what I want to do is go around and tell me, give me a character's name and give me what you're picturing, what they're like. And Sherry, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
All right.
And make you tell us about your sorceress to start this.
All right. My sorceress is named Wildemir the Least Talented. She's the sixth of six sisters, all of them from a well-known sorcering family. She appears to be about 9 and incredibly annoyed. If you have any magicking skill, you will notice that she has a lot of curses stitched all over her. Her name is Wildemir. Whenever she says it, she's clearly compelled to add the least talented to it. And I assume that she's here essentially traveling to find some way to get rid of all of her sister's curses that were laid upon her.
Excellent, excellent. And the sorcerer is a spell user of destruction.
That's correct.
And
they are terrifically weak and incapable of doing anything useful physically, which is why she seems like a 9-year-old girl. So,
fair enough. All right. And then, Horst, can you tell us about your bard?
Well, there's not much to tell yet. His name is Bogomir.
Okay.
And I don't know. I picture him a bit hippie-esque, maybe long hair, unkempt, and a free bird.
And he's a half elf, right?
Yes.
How does he? Is that a hard thing? Is it an easy thing? What do you imagine that?
I think it gives him some kind of pride, like being elevated from a normal man, maybe. But I don't think it's particularly hard on him.
Okay, that sounds good. Patrick, how about your mentalist?
So his name is Simeon, and I was looking through the mentalist setup, and it's sort of interesting, and like took me a while to parse down what I could make out of it.
Mm-hmm.
The two best sort of archetypes that I landed on were it would make a really good witch, which I've just come off of playing like a 3-year campaign of a witch, so I wanted to try something else. So I also thought of like a sort of Scarlet Pimpernel / Catwoman, like a really acrobatic sort of I like the bio control bits of it, but a high-end thief, socialite by day, sort of 2 personality. I don't know how much that'll come into wandering through the dunes, but the abilities themselves are quite interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Okay, awesome. And you are to explain the one of the things that Rolemaster has is they have high men and common men, and high men are essentially I know. Don't get me started on that. Anyway, they are you know how in Tolkien they have the blood of Aragorn and the that whole thing. That's sort of the implication there, is that they're taller, they're stronger, they're more fair-haired, in that sort of vaguely racist Tolkien way.
Well, yes, he's dashing and charming and deserving of all of the great things that have fallen to him in his life. It all just makes sense.
All right. Perfect. And the mentalist is unusual. It is a magic user, but they don't have to worry about armor, so you do have chainmail, which is kind of nice.
I was trying to compare amongst things. Am I right in sort of seeing that I have pretty crap attack, but pretty great defense armor sort of thing?
You have very good armor. You've got a pretty decent defense bonus. Well, actually, you have an average defense bonus, but your armor type is probably what's going to save you from things. And your attack is modest. Your spells are a little more effective at attacking than your actual sort of sweeps and throws.
Okay.
The nice things about that is you can use that to defend yourself.
Yeah, and I liked the ability of the mentalist to do some debuffs on characters, which then makes my modest martial arts a lot better.
All right. Perfect. And then we come to Victor, your character, your fighter?
Yeah, my fighter is Ilberd. He is often referred to as Ilberd the Beast Hunter. He hasn't quite figured out how to get that moniker changed to Ilberd the Beast Slayer. But yeah, he does his thing and he gets by. Yeah.
He has the best attack skill of the group, and he's also one of the few with multiple weapons that he can use, and has the best armor. So he is a good powerhouse character for the combat. Let me tell you a couple of things about the world based on where I'm kind of plopping Slumbering Ursine Dunes into this. This is a world with a lot of ocean and a lot of sort of England-sized nation islands spread around. And you're in a place called Arake. And the Slumbering Ursine Dunes in this area is a land to the western edge where things start to get wild, where civilization starts to peter out. It is a place for adventurers where strangeness goes on. This is a world where there are a lot of gods, and I mean a lot of them, a lot of different pantheons, a lot of different arrays, a lot of gods eating other gods, that kind of thing. This is the sort of strong overcoming the weak, and things constantly changing and shifting over time. And so you have come here to this place. So let me start sort of working my way backwards. Ilberd, how did you meet Semyon, our mentalist character?
So what is it? So Simeon, what's your thing? What is it you're kind of known for?
So he's got sort of this dual life going on of like manipulating, charming socialite sort of out there amongst the upper crust scene, and also sort of thrill-seeking, going after the dangerous big score cat burglar type thief. So those are the sort of areas that draw him, and he's fairly well known in those areas by different aliases.
So I think I probably know you pretty much from the rough and tumble side, and I don't know you have this other thing. And my bet is we probably ran into each other during one of my monster hunts or something. Thought I was just contacting you for info on how to deal with such and such beast, and turns out you wanted to kind of go along, and I didn't know whether that was a good idea or not, and it just kind of turned pear-shaped before we got out of there.
Well, I mean, that beast obviously had killed, someone who had some very expensive, rare treasure on them, and that's what I was there for. I'm not sure what you were there for, but I got my goal.
There we go. Perfect.
Awesome. And then, Semyon, so you helped Bogomil out of a jam. He was a half-elf bard. What do you imagine that situation was like?
I don't know. What sort of trouble do you think you could get into, Horst?
I mean, the power of the bard is very often like inciting. I wouldn't say inciting hatred, but stimulating emotions or amplifying emotions. So I could imagine that in I don't know, at a fair or something, a market, I played a song that caused trouble, like people.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I imagine free love on the marketplace, and he got arrested. Maybe.
I think maybe for like what I could help you out with, I think maybe you got noticed in one of those performances, and some like unthinking noble or party planner for a noble or whatever was like, oh, we have this ball coming up, we've lost our musician, you should come in and play. And so you come into this like high-end noble ball and start playing like protest songs basically. And so I think maybe I could smooth over the death threats and sort of ruination that could come down on you from that.
Cool.
Awesome. Now, Bogomil, you heard some rumors, some stories about Wildemir, the least talented, before you ever met her. What were the stories or rumors that you had heard?
So let me see. Wildemir, what are your powers? What can you do?
You muted.
Still muted.
She's a charming little thing. Flesh destruction, gas destruction, mind destruction, solid destruction, and she could do a little healing. So
obviously the story involves a lot of destruction. So maybe, I don't know, are you evil in nature, or?
No, I wouldn't say that. I would say she's frustrated in nature. How is that?
So maybe the story is, I mean, can still be like completely bullshit, but the story I heard is that there was a road was blocked, like stones fell from a mountain or something, and you blasted the whole place, including the whole complete street. So it was you couldn't travel on the road for half a year. That's how long it took to remove the signs of your destruction.
Yes, that's
The story has gotten larger with each retelling, of course.
But you know, the important thing is those stones aren't there anymore.
exactly.
And finally, Wildemir, you first ran into Ilbert when you were both essentially encountering the same monster. What was the monster, and what happened in that situation?
Well, I had tracked this cockatrice down because I was pretty sure that if I could destroy it, that essentially its eyes and saliva and tongue would be useful ingredients in destroying the curses that were laid upon me. However, there wasn't just one of them, there were two of them. And so I was very much in a, how should we say, difficult situation at that point when Ilberin showed up. So I had mostly taken care of one of them, but I would run out of spell points and didn't have much I could do about the second one.
Does that sound good to you, Ilbeard?
Yep, that worked perfect.
Awesome. So we're going to get started here in just a minute. You do have a couple of picks that you're going to do. We're not worrying about encumbrance or equipment too much, but you have 10 points to spend on your loadout, the things that you have. And let me tell you what you can spend those points on. 1 point gets you a day's worth of rations and food. Another point will get you essentially adventuring gear. Like with Dungeon World, you can then say, oh, I have that, and mark it, and you know, I have the rope, or I have the pitons, or whatnot. You can have for each point you can have a coin, and a coin will buy you a good thing. So that's a typical thing. You can also have herbs, healing herbs. and you don't have to decide what they do yet. You can just say, I'll put 2 points into herbs or whatnot. You could have a trinket or an oddity. If you want to have something weird that you can pull out later, I'm fine with that. And not on the list, but if you want to have a hireling, you can also choose to get a hireling.
I think just as a general loadout, I'd end up with 3 points of adventuring gear because I need interesting things for when a job gets tough.
Okay.
2 trinkets or oddities, which I think will be previous scores. I'll figure out at some point. 4 coins because obviously I'm wealthy, and 1 ration because I have money. I can buy food from someone, at least one of these jerks.
Fair enough. And Sherry, what about you? How are you breaking that down? Muted.
Sorry, this will be a constant thing here. I apologize. So I'm going to go with 3 herbs, 1 adventuring gear. She tends to decide that she will somehow be able to solve it with magic or demanding that someone take care of this for her. So let's see here. She will have, though, 4 rations because she actually really likes good food, and she doesn't trust other people to have that available for her. And that leaves me with how much?
2 coin or two spends.
2 spends. Okay, so I'll take a coin because she spent most of what she started with, and a trinket, which is something she traded for, and she's pretty sure that she got robbed, but she still has it.
Fair enough.
All right.
Ilbert, how are you going to split that up?
I'm thinking three adventuring gear, 3 rations, 2 healing herbs, and 2 coins.
Okay, good spread. And finally, Bogomil?
I have 3 gear, 5 rations, 1 poison, and a trinket.
Okay. Trinket. So, the dunes are a strange area. They're kind of an adventuring area. They, as I mentioned, they go off into the wilds. The nearest town, sort of city, is called Marlinko, and you've traveled from there, heading towards the dunes. You know that there are things there. There are rumors that there are treasures hidden away in the dunes. There are rumors that the Eld, kind of a strange elvish race, have people there. That there are pirates. That there are old gods. That kind of thing spread out. That's the thing. You guys are classically adventuring. But Sherry, what else have you heard that has drawn you and yours to the dunes?
Apparently, there are a number of tokens that can be found in the sands, in essentially in old places. And if you could find one of those and take it back to Marlinko, you can trade them for lifelong service from one of the great bears.
Ooh.
And so that is something very much that Wildemir would like.
Excellent. And Ilbeard, you've come here. Is there a particular monster that you've heard haunts the dunes?
Oh, there's the well-known, though often not seen, serpents of the dunes. Not intending to go dune, but the I don't know. My brain must have gone there. I don't know.
That's fair enough.
So we've got these serpents that are rumored to harass travelers through the area.
Have you told your companions that?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
They're,
All right.
they're nasty and they're sneaky, and we haven't seen them yet, so I'm not that worried about it. Once we see them, then that's when you worry.
Yeah. Bogomil, what's the draw for you to going and adventuring out in this kind of wilderness sandy dune area?
Bogomil is drawn to the stories, obviously, the forgotten gods and the heroes of bygone eras. And if he can make some coin, obviously, he wouldn't complain.
Fair enough. And what is it that you are chasing, Semyon?
So as far as a setting question, I was immediately curious and drawn to the Slavic werebears.
Yes.
So I was just wondering if you could give me like a 30-second on those.
So what's known is that in this area that there was a sort of blended god figure, essentially an old god from the north, a servant of Sarajin, that came down and ended up killing a bear god and then regretted it, and kind of they merged together. And supposedly that god, much diminished, lives out here. And there are these bears, giant walking bears that are his servants, that are armored and travel about and walk on their hindquarters.
Then there is definitely 100% a like Indiana Jones style ancient temple out here somewhere that's dedicated to that merged bear god. It's obviously long abandoned. It's not like it's going to be swarming with bearmen or anything like that. It's totally not like he lives in the middle of it. That would be ridiculous. But there is this idol made out of ruby, just like one giant ruby in the center of it. And, there are a couple of death traps. Most of them are probably worn away. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Don't have to worry. I've put a picture of the bear in the Roll20 thing. That's what they look like.
Amazing. Everything I wanted and more.
And so you have been on the track towards the dunes for a day after leaving Marlinko. And it's been cold and chilly here, but the temperature shifts a little. And as you come forward, you'll start to see the dunes. And they are 200 or 300 feet tall, red sand dunes. From here, they look like great red mountains in the distance. It's hard to see how far they go on. They look difficult to travel, but you can see that there definitely is this road that you're following that heads in, and you will see sort of outside of that what looks like to be the main entryway, the main path that goes into there is a farmstead, simple 2-story house. Looks old, rickety. They have a barn. They have various goats, woolly goats, tied up outside. You see some people farming and such. And usually when you come upon a farmstead, you're adventurers, you're heavily armed. There is that reaction from farmers of, oh, they kind of panic and maybe they go inside. But these people, they just kind of look at you as you come moving up. Looks like there's an old guy on the porch who's sitting there. He's got a big, one of those long pipes that goes down and then bends. And he's got, looks like a big jug of some red tea that he's drinking as you come by. And hey,
So
Hello.
yeah, and Wildemir will curtsy and she'll say, "Hail, Sarah."
Oh, fancy folk.
And I think I kind of mumble off to the side to the group. Hey, at least they're not pulling pitchforks out already. I'm impressed.
Hey, heading in.
She nods. Of course, she looks like a 9-year-old girl, so.
Is your father taking you into the dunes?
Oh, don't worry about her. She's much more capable than she looks. We all are. Except him. He's got a lot of weapons.
Fair enough. Well, mind your step. There are centaurs out and about in the dunes collecting tolls, so mind your step if you run into them.
Collecting tolls?
Yes, there's a scrum of them. They work for Medved, and they move about.
All right. And who is this Medved?
Medved, he's the bear god master.
Thank you.
There's a temple deep in location there, but he has servants. The bears sort of are around. It's the centaurs that you have to watch out for.
You don't happen to have, say, a map to this temple, or at least some local idiomatic landmarks or something, so that we can avoid it? Obviously, it seems very dangerous, and we should not go there.
No, I don't go in there.
But the map, or like a dead tree to look for?
Nope. I hear that if you go far enough, you hit the ocean.
You are a wealth of fascinating information, my good man.
That is what I tell myself. Do you happen to have
any food, perhaps a sandwich that one could barter for, perhaps?
Well, certainly. If you would like to purchase rations, I can have one of my daughters whip something up, and we can strike a bargain on that score.
Daughters, you say?
His eyes narrow.
Here comes the trouble again.
Hildemir rolls her eyes.
You say that with a certain emphasis.
Oh, no, you hear only the emphasis of a hungry man who has traveled a long road. That is my only interest here, good sir. Certainly not bear god temples, or how many daughters did you say?
Well, if you want food, I'll trade you a coin for a day's worth of rations.
Yeah.
So during the discussion, Bogomil tries to approach the house and look through one of the windows without the guy seeing him or noticing him.
Sure. Let's have you roll. This seems like a thing. So you're going to be rolling percentile dice, and you're going to add the value for your stalk and hide, which is a 42 for you.
So I roll D100 plus 42.
Yep.
Let's see.
Lil, is there an in-sheet roller?
The roll 20 has the roller. I would either use the quick bar or do the roll D100.
Okay.
In a context there. It doesn't have an auto roller, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're 115. You are more than able to get to the side. You can see there are a couple of stout lads that are right now shearing the goats or milking, and there are a couple of daughters inside the house who are chatting with one another. Maybe one of them is peeking out to see who has arrived on their doorstep.
So when I see the daughters Bogomil plays a soft tune, like a dancing, romantic dance or something to impress the ladies.
All right. And you're a bard, so I don't think we necessarily need to roll for that. So you will see the old guy will hear this tune, and the ladies will turn and they'll cock their ear to listen. They set down their gruel that they're fixing, and they look, and you see this old guy in the porch starts to hey. What are the rest of you doing then as you hear that lilting tune coming across?
Oh, I'm just really worried that this guy seems like he's getting agitated about all this attention to his daughters, which really he should just be proud. They seem like very nice, capable cooks. And I'm really, really disconcerted by his high rate on rations. So while he's distracted by Bogomil, I'm going to try and cast a Charm Kind on him.
Ooh. Okay. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to make a casting roll. Okay. And that's just a straight roll.
All right.
And what that's going to determine is his essentially resistance roll that he is going to make to your attempt to charm him.
I got a impressive 32.
Impressive 32. Okay.
And by spell points, I assume like level of spell is the number of points I have to spend.
That is correct.
Okay.
Slash. So you will do that casting, and the magic will go, and you will see this guy stands up. His chair kind of goes back. And he's like, all right, friends, time to walk on.
You had mentioned something about rations. We've not completed our...
That transaction is done.
I'm sure this kind sir doesn't want us to overstay our welcome. I think you're stretching that a little bit.
I just think
Make it more
Wildemere
difficult on the
heaves a
holders.
sigh, and she's like, all right.
And
So what does his property look like? Is it like, I mean, we're out in the middle of nowhere.
it looks very sort of edge of the wilderness, kind of, been around for a while, family home. But when he stands up, he's significantly taller than you expected when he stands up.
Oh, look at how much of you there is.
And he looks like a guy who he clearly was on the road. He clearly did things for years, and now he's settled down here. He has that look of a hero quester who has retired to a crappy farm with his sons.
He knows the intentions of groups like us.
Oh, yeah. He goes,
not good.
Adventurers.
So is it like the little shack with the fence around it, even though there's no need for the fence around it? Is
Absolutely.
that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, sir, I can tell when I'm not wanted, and we have important things to do and be off to anyways, I say, looking off into the empty dunes. We don't have time to waste on this little farm anyways.
Fair enough. Well, perhaps I'll give you a better welcome when you come back through.
Well, I should hope so.
And he'll sit himself back down, and he'll reach beside him, and you see him pull up this cudgel, and he kind of stands it upright by his chair.
That doesn't make me move any faster at all, no matter what it looks like.
And he'll turn.
And I can totally picture you're getting out ahead of the group, just slightly, so the rest of us are behind you.
And he will turn to Bogomil and he'll say, "Songster, you should probably follow along with your friends."
And Bogomil bows very deep and says, "Large man, we will meet again, and I will have songs to sing for your daughters and you and your delicious sons. Goodbye."
He rests his hand on the cudgel to reassure himself and watches you head off into the dunes. The trail
Locals around here unaccountably hostile.
It definitely seems like that. You'll move through. There's junk out here, sort of the garbage and detritus that had been dropped and left behind. Maybe scavenged bits from other adventuring parties that are left beside the road here. And you'll head on into the tracks of the dunes here. And essentially, what you'll see is you kind of have to follow the path that runs between the dunes. As I said, they're about 200, 300 feet tall, these dunes. It looks like trying to go up them is a serious work, a serious amount of effort, probably hours to get up them, given the fine grain of the red sand here. But moving on the tracks here seems much easier. And you will go probably about a half hour in, walking along, checking things out. And you come into an area where it looks like there must have been some kind of old growth forest here. The dunes kind of encircle it. The weather is temperate. It's not hot. It's, in that sort of 60-degree Fahrenheit kind of cool here. But it looks like old growth forest that has burned recently. There's kind of ash in the air around here, and some of that has kind of formed a cloud. The trees are burnt and bent. It's hard to tell what lit these up. There's definitely some rock and ground cover. You're not sure whether this is a natural or man-made event. As you move, it looks like you can come and move through this clearing and move on past. Is there anything I should know about your travel? Yes.
I am a sorceress, and I know all manner of things about destruction. From whence did the destruction, the start of the burning, begin? As we come, sort of over this, did it come from above? Did it come from the side? Was it in many places or a part of a path? Destruction, I know, sir.
It looks like it came from the center as you kind of walk along here with the ash piles and stuff. It looks like there's kind of a crater in the center that the fire came out of, and the trees caught. And the trees at the sort of very edge of this are less burnt. But whatever fell here, whatever happened, must have been an intense flame that lit these up.
All right. So something of power or unusual nature is in the middle of that crater.
Could be.
Does it look like we could get to it? Is the heat low enough that we could perhaps approach it?
Yeah, it's definitely whatever burnt, whatever caught flame here and lit these trees up was days ago. Right now you're walking through the ash and the wind of that.
This seems like exactly the sort of thing that Windermere is particularly curious about.
Okay, so heading through the trees, moving that way. What about the rest of you? How do you array yourselves?
Yeah, I kind of want to be aware of what could be lurking in this type of environment, especially with it being burnt recently.
Okay.
Maybe something called the attention of whatever caused this.
That seems good. What about our bard and mentalist? How are you arraying yourselves?
I'm up next to Windermere, sort of leaning in and saying, Windermere, dear, I don't want to question your direction sense, but we seem to be heading exactly towards the middle of what I can only describe as a giant-ass explosion.
Yes. She sort of reaches up to your collar and pulls you closer down, and she goes, yes, exactly. That is where we are going.
Why again?
Because it could be something significant.
It could be something that explodes.
Exactly. The best sort of significant. Let's go.
Oh, dear.
And Bogomil?
So is Ibert staying behind? I'm close to Ibert. Wherever he's going, I'm next to him.
No, I'm
maybe making some notes about a potential song.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm moving in with them. I'm just kind of being wary of what may be lurking. Is kind of the stance. I'm kind of ready to hit anything that comes out of the burnt wood.
So Bogomil is behind you.
Okay.
Let's have you make a perception roll. That's one of the skills. And I'll give you a +10 on that roll.
Okay. So perception. So it's a D100 plus your perception plus 10.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And where's my perception? 35. Okay.
So, you're kind of watching, and the rest of you kind of moving along. We're going to be by him, and you kind of stop because you realize you'll see some like carcasses, like animal carcasses, like maybe animals that had been here.
Almost
when
like
the fire.
So like the fire happened really fast and there were things caught in it, and I'm just kind of distracted by seeing all these other things.
And you kind of move up because you actually see what looks like it must have been a giant boar that got, it's big and it got burnt. And you kind of move up to it to see. And it's at that point that you're pretty close, and you see kind of rear up from behind the boar, clearly having been feasting on it. You will see these two mountain lions just kind of pop up and look at you, fresh meat kind of look.
Okay.
So
what
are you gonna do?
I would probably go into a defensive stance and kind of start making enough, kind of the bluff and bluster to kind of maybe scare them off.
Okay. So let's have you make a roll and add your presence bonus. That's one of your stats.
And my presence. Oh.
Now, one option you could do here is I mentioned in the early part is you've got some blank spaces for secondary skills. So if you can tell me what that skill would be, you could write it in and take one of those bonuses.
Is there something that kind of goes along with like not really, I suppose it'd be intimidation type thing or something like that.
Sure. Intimidation would be great. You can write that in.
Okay. So I could actually use that instead.
Absolutely.
And we'll put that one here because I tend to use it a lot. So we'll do that. Yay.
So you go to intimidate
My random
them.
is very consistent.
And in fact, that would be in Rolemaster would be open-ended low. I'm not bothering to have you roll again and subtract, because we know where that's going. So you do that, and you clearly agitate them. And the lions that might have been hesitating about attacking come lunging at you guys. So I'm going to need everybody to roll 2d10, and you're going to add your initiative bonus.
I think I'm going to kind of scream out, well, I think they were actually hungry. You said 2d10?
2d10.
And then initiative is?
It should be on the front. Let me see here where it is on your character sheet. Let me look real quick.
It's on the bio page.
Yeah.
On the bio page, yeah.
Sorry.
I got a 13.
Okay.
I got an 8.
I got a 5.
I have a 15.
5. 8 sorcerer. 15 bard.
I'm surprised the character sheet doesn't have an initiative box. That's
because Rolemaster has like a dozen different optional initiative systems.
Okay. That makes sense.
I kid you not.
So accounting for all of them is a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so one is going to go with that, and that one is going to go on that. Okay. I want to, before we move into this segment, I want to talk a little bit about combat, and I want to talk a little bit about spells. 3 of you cast spells. Well, I went through and I wrote some stuff about casting time on the sheet. I want to adjust that a little because I went to look at some options. Here is how casting a spell is going to work for all 3 of you. To cast a spell, you have to spend a round preparing. Okay, and that's a prep round. And then on the following turn, as your action, you can cast the spell. So it takes 2 rounds to cast. If you wish to quickly, like prepare and cast at the end of that round, you can do so. But any roll that you make with that spell is going to be at a -25. So it makes it more difficult to cast, but you can do it. That's a simple option from one of the later Rolemaster companions, and I think will make it a little easier for us to track here.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
When you say any
yes.
roll, do you mean the damage roll as well?
The casting roll for the effect.
Okay.
Any spell you're making a base spell casting roll.
And are there any actions or circumstances that will ever give you a bonus on a casting roll?
You can spend more time.
Oh,
if you
okay.
take additional time, you can do that to offset. So what's going to happen is on your round, you'll see that you have typically a weapon that you're using. For example, let's talk with our fighter here, because our fighter is going to be the person who's probably going to be subject to the first attack.
Probably.
Yes. So, Ilbear, we're going to assume that you have weapons out. That's a reasonable assumption.
Yeah, I was wary going through the woods or through the burnt trees. Anyways, I was ready. So
you've got a shield,
yep,
and you've got your a broadsword. You have, with your defense is going to be, I believe, a 30. So that's pretty good. That's going to be subtracted from the attacker's shot on you. Now, the other thing that you can do to increase your defense is you split your attack. So, for example, you have 94 for your attack roll. That's what you're going to be rolling and adding when you attack with your sword. You can take a portion of that to increase your defense. And that's typically when I come to you, you'll talk about what we call your offense-defense split.
So
Uh,
okay. Looking for, oh, okay. I was slow. Okay.
Does that make
So
sense?
that one-handed edged is what I'm looking at, correct?
Yep, that's
That
your
94.
broadsword.
So then I split that between what I want to defend with and what I want to attack with.
Yep.
Okay. And then the longsword listed under my items here that says +10. Is that
That's already added in. All those
Okay.
bonuses are already added in.
okay? Okay, that makes sense. And then how does the shield work into that defense portion of the
So when you have your
things?
shield up, your defense is a 30.
Okay, so I'm starting with a 30
Yep,
before I decide to put any of those numbers to it.
absolutely. So do you want to put any, you think, towards that defense?
Yeah, let's put 20 towards that.
Okay. So I'm subtracting 50 from this lion's attack on you.
Yeah.
And it is going to leap up and make a strike on you.
Okay.
And it comes, and it is a weak strike. It leaps up, but because it's coming over that boar at you, it leaps, and it doesn't even do any base hits. It doesn't do even like light damage to you. And it went first. The second person to go is Bogumil. So this one of the two lions has leapt up and has attacked your fighter.
So Bogumil whips out his lute, obviously, and is preparing a calming song.
Okay.
While slowly backing away, if that is possible.
Perfect. So are you planning on trying to cast it this round or next round?
Next round.
Okay. All right. So you step away, preparing, getting that set. And the next person to go is our mentalist, Simeon. You are 30 feet ahead with your little sorceress. When you see this happen back behind, what do you want to do?
So, brief rules question. In your basics document under attacks in regards to like letter grades, there's a sentence that says crits are rated from A, least, to E, worst, which is a confusing sentence.
It is, in fact, a terrible way to put that, and a typo. It should be A, least, to E, greatest.
Gotcha. Cool. And so they're both lions are back like 30 feet behind us with them.
Yes.
I'll say, oh shit. I turn around. I'll begin. Can I prepare casting and move at the same time, or is it either or?
Yeah, you can make a short move while you prepare if you wish.
Okay. I'll begin creeping forward while I prepare a calm.
Okay. So you will prepare that. Are you planning on casting it this round or next round?
Next.
Okay. And then the other lion will come across and will also take a claw shot at our fighter here.
So if we've got both lions attacking, you said so I use that 20 for defense. Is that against any attack, any incoming attacks?
So the point that you put into parry applies to all attacks. The shield bonus goes to one attacker. So you're going to be at a little bit.
That makes sense.
Defense.
Cool.
Okay. So that is an 88.
Ooh.
And what is your armor type?
My armor type. Let's look.
It'll be written as AT on your sheet.
14.
14. So an 88 means that he is going to do 5 points of damage to you.
Okay.
And an A tiny critical.
Okay.
So I'm going to roll the tiny critical. I know it sounds silly, and it kind of is, but it can be particularly dangerous.
So many people have died from the tiny crits.
So what he does, he hits and essentially smacks you and does another 2 hits of damage to you.
Okay.
So not too bad there. You kind of lucked out on the crit from that. And it is your action.
It is my action. Well, I am going to slug them with my sword.
Okay. So the defensive bonus of this lion, I've got that. So what is how much did you have for offense left? I believe 74, right?
That would leave me with 74.
Okay. So you're going to roll and add 74. I'm going to subtract their defensive bonus, and then I'll check on the broadsword sheet, see what happens.
Please roll better than a 3.
Thanks for saying that right before I get in it.
I am the
Okay, that's better.
Very good.
That's much better.
Oh yeah.
I'm happy.
Okay. All right. So you are going to do a 10 points of damage and a B crush to this guy.
Okay.
So 10. And we're going to roll that B crush. You're going to roll straight percentiles, and we're going to see what happens on your crit.
7.
Okay. So it's a weak extra shot there. You do a couple more points of damage there as you get the blade up.
Okay.
These things are not, I mean, they are hides and leather there, so they are, not the toughest armor. We swing around to the top of the next round there because nobody fast casts except the sorcerer should go. I should probably let the sorcerers go, shouldn't I?
Yes. So Windermere rolls her eyes and dramatically starts casting.
Are you going to cast on this round, or are you going to hold off for next?
She's cursed. She doesn't. She doesn't speed things up.
All right. So we go to the top of the next round. The first lion that came in on you is going to again move, and it's actually trying to bite you this time. So how do you want to do your defense on this round, my fightery person, Ilbeard?
So, well, he's coming in for a bite. Yeah, I don't want to hurt my attack much. I think let's beef it up a little bit to a 30 instead.
Okay. And are you using your shield to block this one?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. So that'll be minus 60. Okay.
Against teeth. Yeah. That's always a good thing.
So he is just rolling straight then is what he is rolling on you. What is your armor? Your armor type is 13, right?
14.
14. Okay. So you are going to take 5 points of damage.
Okay.
Essentially comes in and gets a bite on your armor, but isn't able to lock it in solidly.
Okay.
Bogomil, it is now your action.
So Bogomil has started to play the song already in the last round, so to speak, but now the full effect comes into play. It's a soothing, half-whispered song with cat noises interspersed.
Awesome.
Purrs.
Yeah, I'm purring again, indeed.
All right. So you are going to roll, and you are going to just do a straight roll here.
That's the best. D100.
D100.
Oh, that was in check. Hold on.
That's okay. I do that all the time.
On the wrong thing. Here we go. Let's see.
There you go.
76.
Oh, awesome. So it's going to be very hard for this thing to resist that. I will make its resistance roll. And what's the effect on this?
That is a good question. Let's see, where would I find it? I have here controlling songs.
Mm-hmm.
Where would I find the description of that?
Oh, on the spell page that has your all your spells written out.
Spell
it should be
page.
it should be in the folder. Let me pull that up.
It says for calm song, target is calmed, can't take aggressive or offensive actions as long as the caster plays or sings, concentrates.
Okay. So I'm going to grab the folder link and put it in the chat there. So there's a page, there's a PDF in there with all your spells written out in there. So yeah, this thing went to bite, and it gets kind of frozen in place there, and stops attacking. And you hear that tune going off there. And then we come to our mentalist.
So yeah, I'm gonna calmly walk forward towards the second one and say, "Come, come, my good fellow. This is ridiculous. You just need to calm down. Who's a good kitty who just wants some belly scratches? Yes, you are." I'm gonna see how that goes.
Let's make your casting roll and see how it goes.
I got a 9.
Oh no, it doesn't go.
9. So this is the resistance roll then for the cat. Let's see. And it pays absolutely no attention to your attempts to dissuade it.
I am 100% confident, and this does not stop me from walking up and petting it.
Okay. So tell me what your defensive bonus is.
I don't think I was like trying to add anything in particular. I think I have a 10 just base.
All right, got a
Yes.
10 base. All right. Well, you are a very lucky man at this point. So what armor type are you wearing?
13.
Oh, this is actually not too bad. So a 13 with that will mean that you're going to take 4 points of damage.
Whew. Could have been worse.
Essentially, it's that you kind of came up on it, and the lion was like, "What's going on?" and it goes to smack at you. But you're so close to it that it's like, "What's going on?" So one of the lions is on you. The calmed one is on your fighter friend.
Yes, you're just an angry tiger, aren't you? Oh, you're so tough.
And our sorceress.
Okay, so if she could roll her eyes any harder, she would, but she can't. Can I please lay down vacuum 1 on that cat?
Yes, you can. Make the casting roll.
Okay, so my question is, it has a radius. I assume that I have good enough control over the radius that I won't hurt.
That depends on how well you roll. If you fumble this, then the radius will encompass your companion.
Okay, awesome. There we go. Here goes my roll then. It's just a straight roll, right? So I rolled a 60.
Straight roll.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's going to do an A crush critical to this thing. Describe what that looks like when you cast that vacuum.
Well, it says a B impact. So is it that it doesn't?
It's a B impact. Okay.
B impact.
Sorry. So go ahead and tell me what that looks like.
Well, it looks like this. It's incredibly ornate. It's essentially a circle scribes itself underneath the cat. Essentially, it lifts itself up through the air. It passes through the cat, and then it like sort of just crushes in, like it gets rolled up like a piece of paper and smashed, and it goes smashing into the ground. So it's got this whole thing of going, and it's sort of slow and mesmerizing when it does that. But then it's like, and when it does it, then there's this huge pops sound that you hear.
Yeah, and you guys, the sand and dust and dirt will splatter out, and there's a loud crackle as the vacuum hits.
So kind of like one of those pressure pops where it makes your ears ring a little bit.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
Now you're going to roll your B critical. Let's see what happens to this lion.
74.
74. So you will hit this lion, and it looks like the back haunches get the worst of it.
Because I was trying not to hit it.
Yeah. And it knocks it. It is going to be stunned and unable to parry for 2 rounds, and it takes some additional concussion hits. So right now it is dizzy. It's not going to be able to attack, and it's at a penalty to defend. So that's where that ends up. We come back around. The one lion is just kind of standing by you, Ilberd. And the other one is trying to get up. What do you want to do?
So the one that I was dealing with isn't the one that got hit with this vacuum thing.
No.
Okay.
Essentially, the one that you're dealing with is standing there, sort of like clearly nonviolent, mesmerized by the bard song.
Okay. Well, I want to do like the bull rush type thing and hit the one that got hit by the vacuum.
Okay. Essentially, just going to go open and make a strike.
Yep. Make a strike with the shield and just kind of clobber the thing.
Then roll with your full offensive bonus.
Yeah, full offense. Okay. So this would be minus my 30 that I put off.
No, we're on a new round, so you can set it to put everything in if you want.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I want to see what it does.
Why not? Spend it all.
145.
145.
And they stunned.
Yeah. So you're going to do a 25 points of damage and an E/critical, which is the best critical as opposed to what I actually wrote on the sheet. So let's have you roll your E/.
So that's just a D100.
Yep.
18.
18. So that's going to do another a set of hit points, and that will actually drop it.
Nice.
Essentially, you run up and you hit it hard across the shoulders with the blade, come down into it, and it will collapse to the side, right in front of your mentalist friend who was trying to dances with cats with it.
Hey, this is how you pet one of these. and not come away damaged.
And we come to Bogomil. The cat is there, calmed. You can keep it calm as long as you concentrate on the effect if you want.
Well, Bogomil fears that the poor cat will be meat. So is there any way that I can just shush it away? So if I would stop singing, obviously it would regain its aggressiveness. Could I change the tune somehow?
Well, I think what you probably could do is if you and your companions move off, sort of out of its line of vision, because you've got this ash around that's obscuring that, and you walk far enough out and stop, it probably, because it's been in this daze, it will its dead companion, and it will probably take off. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, that sounds great. Bogomil then moves away and backwards, like a lion, what's it called, tamer that leaves the circus or something. Can I say something to my companions, or do I have to like the concentration is total on the spell itself?
In Rolemaster, concentration means that you can take a small partial action. So yeah, speaking is possible.
Oh, I was gonna say maybe like a wink and a nod, like
let's
get out
exactly.
of here.
So,
Or make it part of the lyrics.
Oh, that's
now we all need to get out of here.
leave that lion alone.
Do the rest of you follow?
Kind of sadly, because there was all kinds of rations in that boar.
I think I'm gonna grab our cat lover and kind of pull him as we're going.
Gilbert,
That makes
Gilbert,
sense.
tell me, just tell me the truth. Did it cut through my jacket?
Yeah, we're gonna go back over here for a little bit.
And you can move over towards this crater. When the song ends, that lion will kind of look around. It will smell the blood in the air, and it will back away and head off.
Yes.
Goes
Run away,
into
you
the-
savage! I didn't want you for a pet, anyways.
But Wildemir does stop and say, "Do you think, Master Hunter, that we could obtain some rations from that boar?"
That is exactly. I was thinking from the lion. That seemed to be a little more fresh than the boar.
All right.
The boar is a few days old, but
The boar may cook up better, but it looks like it's probably a little overdone already.
Okay.
So do you have you could assign to one of your secondary skills, like a cooking skill, or does that sound reasonable?
Well, that makes sense.
Okay.
That definitely makes sense.
Then let's have you roll that, and we'll see how many rations you can get out of the site here.
Okay. Okay. 112.
Oh yeah,
Whoa.
I say that you can get 3 rations, 3 days worth of food out of the animals here. Does that sound reasonable?
Awesome.
That works
Sounds
for me.
great.
It smells
and-
horrifying, though.
You will, yeah, not a good wild smell, and the sort of the sun cured boar.
Probably adds to the various aromas going on in the area. Probably don't want to hang around here too long in case another lion decides to come back. So.
Yeah, the cooked animals didn't have quite the scent that the fresh kill might. So, you will move over to this crater. It's about 10 feet wide. It goes down maybe a couple of feet. There's just an absolute sort of glass scorched black mark in the center.
It's lovely.
And you can see that there are tracks around. Looks like hoof prints.
Centaurs. We're here.
Okay. Any tracks in the glass-like surface, like while it was still hot?
It doesn't look like that, but probably they've cracked it because they're heavy enough that when they walked on it, they
so they've been through here
that.
long after it had cooled. Or
Yeah.
At least, okay.
Let's take a 5-minute break here, and then we will continue on. Sure, made these Polish cookies that have black pepper in them, and I eat them like they're cookies. I forget that they actually have a lot of black pepper in them, so the spice is a little.
Oh, that sounds good. I love my salt and pepper chips and stuff like that. I like that. I like that real peppery taste. It would be a little probably throw you off if you're looking at it and thinking cookie and then eating pepper.
It's like people that have those gumdrops, but they're actually the spice gumdrops. So that I'm always like, oh look, and oh God, why?
See, I love those. Those are the best.
Oh.
Especially like the licorice stuff.
Oh,
I love those. Those pizzelles and anything that's got that anise or licorice taste.
yeah,
really good.
When we had people come in from Europe a couple of years ago to go to Origins, we had a couple of Finns and a couple of Belgians that we met through RPG Geek, and the Finns brought this licorice, and
I was going to say that would be some pretty good licorice.
It was black as night, okay, and to me it tasted like a tire fire. But I don't like that kind of liquor. Sherry loved it. But wow, it was crazy strong.
You can't eat too much of that really strong stuff. A little bit too much, and you get that bitey feel on the side of your tongue.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of weird numbness.
It also like interacts with some medicines.
Yeah.
As I understand it, you have to be careful about that. Much like grapefruits.
If you have angina, you shouldn't eat licorice because it can cause heart palpitations in large amounts.
But licorice is just too good.
You know, I don't like red licorice at all, and I would never eat regular black licorice, but the salt licorice is crazy. It's like standing at the edge of a void. It's awesome.
That's exactly the taste.
It's what I'm looking for out of my food, existential nihilism.
Makes for some it makes for some great snacking.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I got up, went out, and I'm like, oh, I should have kept my Rolemaster book because I have like the 3 core books from like way back when. I'm in the middle of moving out of my house, so I was boxing stuff yesterday, and I should have kept those ones out because I would end up leafing through them after playing here. But yeah, they are now buried in one of like 18 boxes. So they're somewhere.
Well, I will tell you, we had after the house fire when we had the stuff moved back to the house. There's still boxes up in the attic from years ago that I'm like, there's probably some stuff up in there in those boxes. I don't know what it is, but I don't really want to go through it. So
yeah. Because for every 1 or 2 things you're gonna find, it's like, okay, so now I gotta store the rest of this stuff somewhere.
Yeah. Or haul it all the way downstairs to throw it away, which as lazy as I am. So
down is easier than taking it upstairs.
That is true. So you will move along through there. You'll see these tracks that are there in the crater. So you particularly wanted to look at this. Let me come to you, our sorceress.
Yes. I particularly love these things that can cause a great deal of destruction. This has done this thing. I wish to know the nature of the thing that fell from the sky and made this beautiful burn.
Okay. So we could probably do that with staves and wands, or if you have a secondary skill that you'd rather use.
I don't know. I think in some ways, is Staves and Wands like typically like the identify skill?
It's the attunement
That's what I'm
skill to kind of sense things. Um, there are spells like the bard has that are better at like reading objects and things.
Hmm. I'll probably try Staves and Wands because that's what I know.
Okay, let's have you roll with that.
$119.
So whatever fell here was there have significant essence power, significant power of the elements, and it clearly was an object that was here. Does that seem like reasonable info?
Yes, it because I'm cursed, I came 3 days too late. This is very annoying to me. All right.
Does anyone else want to do any checking or anything like that we should know about?
So the bard has detect power, but that I assume that it is if it is within, I don't know, like you, or if the bard actually sees the item. It's not detecting the direction the power is.
Now it's kind of like a reading the site. Do you want to cast that? I'll give you some info if you want to do that.
Cool.
Just make a casting roll.
And casting is just D100?
Yep, just don't roll a 1 or a 2. Right in the middle. Okay. So whatever fell is of significant power and is of significant natural power. And you would guess that the object, just based on the kind of the touching and the reading of the vision of it, is probably actually like that big. You know, maybe the size of an American football, a little bit smaller than that. Does that seem like reasonable info?
Yeah, cool.
Okay. What about our mentalist and our warrior here?
So while they're, I don't know, slipping around on the glass and looking at interesting rocks or whatever, I'm doing the important work of sitting down on the lip of this crater and working on repairing my jacket because it was more expensive than anything any of these people have ever owned. And also, I suppose, maybe some self-healing too with a clod.
All right. So yeah, you can do that. You're not bleeding, so the clot isn't that bad. The concussion hits. How many concussions hits? Yeah, it's used if you take a bleeder from a crit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But how many hits of damage did you take?
4.
4. So you'll probably get traveling. You'll get back one of those points an hour.
Okay, so is that
that's very light.
I guess
damage.
I don't understand how damage works or is classified.
So what they've got is when I hit you, most of the damage is going to be what they call concussion hits, the hit points that you're marking off. But there are other effects that I can do, like a typical crit hit. A very common one is that I hit you and you take a bleeding wound, which means that you lose X amount of hits per round. And stopping that is really important, which is what that self-healing is about.
Oh, okay. I understand how it's worded now.
Yeah, because you can bleed out even if you win a fight.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yes, I'm very worried about my jacket.
Okay. And what about you, Ilbert?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna kind of look around for like those tracks, kind of follow them off to see where they're going versus like where they came in and then where they're heading out and whether it looks like maybe they left with something or that kind of thing.
Sure.
Maybe their tracks change.
Let's have you make a perception roll.
Okay.
You're going to get some information as to determine sort of the depth and detail. Wow.
Okay, there we go. Making up for my 3s.
Oh yeah, it looks like at the end of this opening, the area that you're in, you can see that there's a rise of the dune. Okay, it rises up, and there are off to the southwest and the southeast, there are stairs, sort of carved and maintained, that go over this dune, that clearly head over sort of into the heart of this place in different directions. It looks to you like the tracks that you're seeing, the centaur tracks, clearly went up the southwest stairs and headed out that way.
These stairs look like they do that, or do they look like they kind of curve back in if they go far enough?
They're far enough apart, and they kind of angle away. They seem like they go in two very different directions.
So they kind of do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's traffic on both sets of stairs. Like, things have crossed here. Like, this is a way path.
Yeah.
But the ones that have been here most recently are certainly heading out to the southwest path.
So we notice if there's sand getting on them, there's probably brushed off where people have been walking and that kind of stuff. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And the ash, that kind of thing.
Did it look like they had taken anything with them? Like their tracks had changed, like they were carrying something wide or large, or...
It didn't look like that, but with the 129, I will say, just judging by what they've said about there having been an object in the center of the crater,
it probably got taken.
And probably the centaurs, they certainly, there's enough of their tracks around, moving around that center crater, that they must have spent some time there, and then they head off.
Okay. Wildemir, I think the object you're concerned about went this direction. My bet is it's minotaurs. I mean, we've got the hoof prints.
I hope it's not minotaurs. I hope it's centaurs.
Or yeah.
But I am glad to know where they have gone, because I think that I need that object.
You think you need that object?
It was meant for me, but my curse delayed me.
It was meant for you. We're not going to regret this, are we?
Absolutely not. You will be rewarded extremely well.
Your curse you keep talking about, that's not communicable, right?
I wouldn't think about it too hard.
Because, today a lot of weird things have been happening. I felt rather competent in my life up until, well, this has just not been a good afternoon.
Well, that's an interesting experiment, isn't it?
Experiment?
Don't worry, just stick with me. As long as I'm here, I'll draw most of the curse.
You keep saying things that I don't think are as calming and reassuring as you think they are.
No, this is very reassuring. We should go southwest.
I completely agree. That is definitely not reassuring language. Curse.
It's precise language.
Curse in my historical interactions with the term have never really come out positive. They've often turned out that I'm either running or meeting with somebody who can like magic the thing off of me. And I just kind of trail off into like all these, okay, so there was this time when this happened.
And I just kind of shake my head and I take your wrist and we start walking southwest.
Yes, but this curse, I'm curious about this one. Where does one pick up a curse exactly?
I don't want to know where to pick up a curse.
Well, I want to know where she got hers, so I know if I need to like wash extra careful or something. I'm trying to not be rude about it.
She sort of stops and she goes, "They're from my sisters."
Some family.
They were jealous.
Oh, jealousy curses.
if you proceed southwest, kind of to drag you along, we get the sort of the conversation as you go in the distance. It kind of trails off. We get that sort of David Lean, Lawrence of Arabia wipe as you guys go up the stairs here. It's a good 15-20 minute climb because it is they're sort of wide steps, and it's got a severe angle to it. You'll come up on the top of this dune ridge, and there's a trail / broken set of stairs that go down into this next dune valley. You can see again the red, maybe glint of sort of the metallic off of stones and things down there. It looks like it goes on. There's definitely a trail. You're definitely seeing that the centaurs don't have the best hygiene habits, so it makes it pretty easy to track them through here by their spoor. And you will see the track goes down, and as you move downwards, you can see in the distance there are clearly some split-offs from this valley, and there is a wooden shack and this sort of big tree branch resting on some what do you call the wooden horses, the standees there, and you will see there is a centaur just kind of standing by this wood across the trail.
Oh, good. How quaint smelling.
And it's still like dune desert. It's like you could walk around him, and there
are rocks and things like that.
So it's kind of puzzling looking, I assume. It's like,
yeah, this is the main trail. It's got that blocked. It's more symbolic than anything.
Okay.
And centaur looks at you. Got sword. Got a bow. Watches as you approach.
Walk up and I'll say, "Hail." So I understand that you charge tolls here?
You understand, right. We serve Medved, who is the master of these dunes. We are the appointed collectors of the toll for passage through these dunes.
Well, I mean, Medved. Who doesn't love Medved around here? We all serve Medved. He's one of my favorite people.
Okay.
She sort of stops and says, so you're an official toll taker for Medved?
Yes.
You have your papers in order?
Medved needs no papers. We don't do papers. We need no badges.
She stops and she goes, well, then how do we know that your tolls actually go back to Medved?
Oh my, what a disturbing and interesting question.
Are you calling me a liar?
No, just wondering whether you might be.
We just don't want your reputation impugned by anybody else who may be falsely collecting.
Right.
Well, if you'd like, I can call some of my friends, and they can...
Do they have paperwork?
As I said, we don't do paperwork.
Oh, do you have a sign or a sigil?
He looks puzzled. This centaur is clearly not the sharpest knife in the drawer, and he does goes, well, let me call some people. And he kind of reaches. Look. As you can see, he's got a horn to blow on at his side.
Friend, don't. There's no worry. And I'm sort of like scooting over to him. I've walked alongside her for days. It seems like years now. She can be a little demanding at times. Really, it's just best to sort of coddle her interests and go with. I'm trying to like charm person on him here as I babble along.
Okay. So
it's gone perfectly thus far.
You have. Are you using a spell, or do you want to do this as a secondary skill for like fast talk that you might have?
I'm starting to suspect there may be some sort of like magic disruption that goes with her cursed. So I think maybe a second. What would be the equivalent of like charming as fuck?
I would say just do either charm or fast talk or diplomacy as a secondary skill.
I was gonna
Diplomacy
say,
sounds far too intentional.
yeah, I was gonna say you sound more like the fast talker, seeing as to how you were talking to those cats.
Yes.
Yeah, I may not actually be charming.
I think you're more optimistic than anything else. So there.
So let's see, back over here. Put that at a 40. So 107.
Nice.
So his initial irritation with the pony that you have with you, it kind of does come down when you kind of treat him with a little more respect.
You know, if you just had some small thing with a sigil on it or something, or you just drew something real quick, it would convince her.
He says, this is my official warning horn. And he holds this up.
Oh,
It's like a ram's
yes.
horn hollowed
Exactly.
out.
Here, Wildemir, will this prove his office to you?
and I will take a very serious look at it. Does it seem official? Or is it just some rando?
This is clearly a horn to blow to call the rest of the centaurs.
And she sort of hands it back to him when she goes, I see that it is indeed a symbol that you belong to a group of centaurs.
See? Told you.
Yes. This is, just advice for the future. This may be the sort of situation you want to think through. Maybe you could get together with the other centaurs and come up with some sort of official signaling so that future travels aren't worried that they're paying their tolls to the wrong sort.
Starting him down the road to bureaucracy.
Good friend.
Says if you want to travel on, it will be 1 coin.
1 coin. Do you accept barter?
I don't know. What do you got?
Ooh, we've got food.
I can get food at camp.
I was gonna say this is fresh. I mean, do you like lion?
Ugh, a little gamey.
When you're on the trail, it doesn't matter too much.
So Bogomil is trying to sneak past him. He's using.
What's 1 point for the group, right?
Yeah. 1 coin for the group. Bogomil, yeah. You can roll with your stalk and hide.
Let's see. Sheet. That is. Where would I find that?
Should be under the
Oh,
skills.
stock and hide. I see it. Yeah, and doesn't say anything.
Doesn't say. Let me see here. Let's real quick.
Says secondary skill. Oh, 3. Secondary 3. Skill 3.
So let's look at your stalk and hide. Looks like your stalk and hide is a 42.
Mm-hmm.
It's just below the pick locks there.
Okay. So I roll 300 plus 42.
Mm-hmm.
117.
So this centaur is seriously occupied with the discussion about the coin, and you can easily make your way around behind him. He doesn't, he counted you guys with his hoof when you came up, but now he's forgotten. And yeah, you can move on if you want.
I do that. I move at least around the next corner or something.
Okay, move along. Find some shrub, some dry bush and stuff to conceal yourself.
So surely as a sort of friends and family discount, honoring the recent passing of Centaur Subjugation Day, which we all honor and believe in, you have some sort of like a map of the area or general directions to dangerous sites that we should definitely at all points avoid and not go anywhere near.
Says I don't have maps per se, but I do know there have been eld patrols moving out through the dunes. You want to be careful for that.
What do the elves do?
They're awful. They're elves from somewhere else.
Oh dear.
They're related to the sky elves, the old servants of the She.
They're the terrible worstest.
Yeah.
All
You know,
right.
my good friend, if there's anything I can't stand, it is people that come from somewhere else. They don't fit in.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You got it right. Absolutely.
So do the bears fight the eld? Or is it the centaurs who do most of the fighting?
No, we're the toll takers and such for the master for Medved.
Oh, so you don't have to fight the eld.
No, we haven't had to. We don't go that far inland.
Oh, so you're only here in the borderlands?
No, we go and see go to the temple and such.
Oh, when are you going next?
Well, we're heading. When Medved calls us to go again, we have to go in. So that's when we're going to go.
So he calls you?
He sends a missive to us, and we head on to there.
What does the missive look like? Have you ever seen it?
Well, the other guys at the camp have they do the things there.
Wait, they didn't show you?
This is all getting really confusing for me. I really just want that coin.
Oh.
I think as she's talking, I'm going to try and lay a distraction on him as well.
Okay. Is that's a spell?
It is a spell.
You gonna distract him into thinking we paid him at some point during this process?
I'm gonna try and distract him, and behind my back, just wave to Ilbert, like, "Go on, just move on. We got this." We're just gonna disappear one by one.
Hey, I'm not good at this. You're gonna leave me here to pay a coin.
No, that's why I'm distracting him, so you can get away.
Oh,
Let's have you make a casting roll.
This has gone so well.
I'm sure
If you roll enough, it will stop doing so.
55.
So mid-range there. Okay. So then that'll be minus that to his thing. So he's going to need to beat that to resist this.
Minus 30 to all actions.
Yeah. So he's like, you do that, you expand your mind, and he starts kind of like, and then, there's the towers. And, at one point I found this grue that was down in this thing. And,
oh my gosh.
And so he's just kind of doing that thing where he's kind of walking and seriously distracted.
Okay. And so we sort of walk past, along with him past the little toll thing. And we say, well, after he kind of comes to one of those confused endings, we go, well, thank you. It was good talking to you. We'll probably see you on our way back. Bye.
You're doing an excellent job, my good friend.
Okay.
And on we go.
And I'm walking along with you, kind of just as puzzled. Like, what just happened?
And with the concentration I have to keep until we go over the next dune, I'm just sort of like side-eyeing him as we walk away.
Yeah. Again, Wildemir will take your wrist and sort of just leave you on, Ilbert.
That makes sense. You will see that from here, as you move past the toll section and along the road, that it goes in several different directions. You can see that you can head the most worked track is to the west. Certainly looks like the centaur track. You guess it's probably towards whatever campment they have. And then there are two branching paths, the dunes, where it kind of breaks in the middle, and you've got two directions to go to the southwest and southeast. How do you wish to proceed?
So I would assume the one heading towards their encampment or whatever probably is much more traveled. So is it
Oh, yeah.
possible to tell which direction the people with the object or the centaurs with the object had gone at this point, or is it just getting kind of vague?
You had a really good roll with that original roll. So let's continue on that. It looks to you like the centaurs that moved along here kind of deliberately took an offset track away from the other centaurs. Like clearly they're trying to stay out of sight, and they head off. That set of them breaks off towards the southwest path at the end of this. Like they clearly didn't go back to camp. They clearly went somewhere else.
Okay.
Aha, I knew these guys weren't official. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of point out to the group. Yeah, this seems kind of odd. You would think if they took something here, they would have taken it back to camp or some such. Maybe our short companion here is onto something with this whole curse thing.
They've stolen my destiny. We have to go and take it. Maybe I can leave my curse with them.
I sure hope you don't keep it with us.
That is not my intent.
So you could head towards the centaur camp. You can head to the unknown southeast, or you can follow their trail to the southwest. Bless you.
Southwest.
Okay. So you move along here, heading along the track, and we'll cross over this set of trail here, kind of splits in the dunes, move through. It's another, say, half hour, 45 minutes of traveling between these dunes. The path is a little less fixed here. There's a little more of the sand blown over onto your steps. A little rougher travel. And you'll get to the end of this pair, and there's still the dunes surrounding, but you will see what looks like a great tangle of sort of brambles and brush, purple vine trees, and so on. Very that sort of dry, sandy brush. The taiga kind of thing around, and that's the wrong word. And I did that specifically because Sherry would hate me when I did that. But it's spread kind of thorny bush there, and it's pretty big. It looks like this must be a decent sized sort of small stead of brambles and woods here. And right now you don't see any like immediate markers of people or persons or centaurs, but they could easily be in and amongst the brush there.
Then we will have to depend upon the beast hunters, Elberds, fine skills to take us to these centaurs.
So let's kind of scope the area out and kind of look for any kind of movement or ambush points or stuff like that.
Okay. So let's have one of you can make a. Well, actually, let's do it this way. Let's have two of you make perception rolls. You can decide who wants to do that, and two of you can make stalk and hide rolls. So you guys decide how you want to split those rolls up.
I'm equally not great at both of those.
Woohoo!
I have a 38 in perception.
Yeah, I've got a 35 and a 40, so they're pretty much equal.
Okay.
Our bard seems to be pretty good at the stalk and hide.
Okay.
Does that sound?
Yeah.
That's probably a good idea.
Mhm.
I would think I'm probably trying to do the perception thing.
Okay.
Just because it's kind of what the beast hunter in me would do.
Okay. And
so Bogumil is trying to remind people to be quiet and usher them together a little bit. And
stop
shushing.
stepping in the leaves, you
Yeah.
know, breaking branches, that kind of thing.
And I am an accomplished master thief. So, yes, I will be stalking and hiding as skillfully as I always do, I'm sure.
Okay. And so, Sherry, that leaves you with another perception check.
Okay, I will do a perception check.
Okay. So let's have everybody roll with those numbers, and I'll ask you what you got. Remember, if you roll a 5 or below, you roll and subtract. If you roll a 96 or above, you roll and add another roll.
Okay, no negative, no 5 and belows, so that's a good thing.
Okay. And Ilbeard did very well, so we got that. So,
Yep.
So our lower total is that. So you will move along here. This actually goes on for a ways. You know, to circle around this stead takes some time. You will see that there are signs of some larger animals that have moved around the area, and you'll see what's clearly a badly concealed, like, brush has been kind of wrapped and stood up, covering onto a path going into the woods. And by the tracks, you would judge that the centaurs went in that way. You do make more noise than you wanted to. Just because the ground here is so dry, the leaves and so on, you're circling around, and you hear, you know, some movement, like maybe something's become aware of your presence out here. How do you want to proceed?
Hmm.
I'm tempted to kind of go in parallel to this route going into the trees, and not go in on the trail itself. But that all kind of depends on how well we think we can do that without making a whole lot of racket.
Well, let's see. When you look at Windermere, her hair is all caught up in the thorns and she's like tugging at it. So you're not that optimistic if you've got her along in this one. So
Yeah.
let's see here.
Bogumil refuses to go through the wood.
So
Can take the path, but I'm not like, this is a perfectly
good path, and why shouldn't he use it? Well, you do have a point, and if somebody's aware of us already, changing directions here wouldn't change much. So, yeah, you're probably right. We probably would be better off taking the path in and just being on our toes.
Okay. Hey, Lowell, can you like precast, but then like have something ready to go?
So it'll occupy your attention, but you can prepare. But keep in mind that then you're focusing on keeping that spell and not losing it. So,
okay. Let's see here. There's a part of me that would like to do that. Let's see here.
I guess given the narrowness of this path, I have to ask your marching order.
I would say it's probably the fighter in front.
Okay.
I will be in the middle somewhere. Oh yeah,
Okay.
I can just hold on to
who's behind the
someone's
fighter?
coattails.
Semyon, do you want to be second or last?
I can go for last. I'm keeping our trail from being too obvious.
Okay.
So Boromir is second.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
You were saying something a little bit ago about those hits we took earlier. Do we get some of that back over time, or?
You guys have been walking for a couple of hours, so you can get, let's say, 3 hits back.
Okay.
How far down are you, Ilbear?
Total hits on my sheet say 90, and I'm at 9 right now.
You're at 9?
You took 9.
Yep, I'm at 9 right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so wait, you took 9 points, right?
No.
You didn't take 8.
I took 12 total.
Okay, so you should be at 78 hits, right then?
Yeah, I'm working the other direction. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No,
I
I'm
see.
doing because I didn't want to do it on the character sheet and then lose track of what my total was.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Because it doesn't have like a current. It's got base hits and total hits. And I don't know if there's a difference between the two, so I just started tracking these separate.
Okay.
That's good. Well, I can heal him if I notice. It's probably like at this point when she's walking behind him that she notices that he's still kind of mashed up. So I can cast Healing 1.
Okay. Just spend the points, and that's a 3d10, right?
It doesn't. It says he's healed 1 to 10 concussion hits.
Okay, so yeah, so it's just a d10 then.
Okay. So it gets 10 back.
Okay.
Okay.
What does your sorceress healing look like?
Probably
Like what
very
Patrick said,
creepy.
that it's a destruction of the wound. So essentially, you do have that kind of thing of where, your arm or whatever it was that hit was all bruised up, and all of a sudden your arm kind of glows, and it feels very, 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 very warm, and then there's a kind of snap, and it feels fine.
So like I was getting too close to the campfire.
Exactly. But it's not a reassuring feel. It's a feel like it was going to catch on fire, but then it stopped.
Yeah, I was almost too close. Yeah.
Yes.
Ilbert, you're at the front, so you're going to make the perception check here.
Okay. Okay. What was my perception again? 35. Yep, 35. 80.
All right. So you're moving along the track. You're trying to be quiet, but there are 4 of you. Some of you not experienced at that. You're kind of moving through these woods. And
some of us are a little too distracted with getting brambles in their hair.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And you will come out, and it's the light is sort of coming in here, but got that sort of red bouncing off, so it's making a weird look with the purple trees and the red light coming in. And you kind of step out, and you realize that you kind of there's a little more of a clearing here, but some steads. But you will be able to get your shield up just in time, essentially, as to apply that defensive bonus as this arrow comes firing at you.
So we're walking, kind of keeping quiet, and I just turn at an odd angle from when everybody else is seeing me go, and I catch this arrow right in the shield. Is kind of the
hopefully the shield will deflect it enough for that. So your defensive bonus is a 30 with your shield up, right?
Okay. Yeah, my shield's 25 and defensive bonus is 5+.
Yeah, so you will get that up, and this arrow will come shooting out at you, and it hits against the shield and does go into it. And you will see up ahead in this clearing, there are 3 centaurs, and they've got bows out, and one of them has just loosed at you, and it looks like the other 2 are preparing to do the same.
Hey, I'm gonna yell at them. Hey, what's the call for this? We paid the toll. And see what their reaction is.
You will get that impression right away that they're not supposed to be here. Like, they're off the clock. Like, they've taken off with things. And so the toll thing kind of doesn't matter to them.
Right.
You kind of do that and realize that these guys are rogue centaurs.
So it doesn't shake them any when I look at them. They don't kind of, I mean, they keep going about nefarious.
It looks like they are going to try and put arrows in you, because right now all they see is you.
Okay.
So let's take your action, and then I'm going to move back along the line. So what do you want to do?
Okay. Well, I've got my sword and my shield, and I think, how many of them are there?
There are 3.
Oh, I can take them without a problem. That's easy.
Oh, Lord.
So you want to rush one of the 2?
Yeah, I'm gonna just screaming all out, rush down the path right at the one that, or at the one that's hasn't yet reloaded.
So you run at the closest one who's got his bow out, trying to essentially beat him to the punch and make that swing. So you can go ahead and make your attack roll if you wish.
Okay.
Bless you. And then I'm going to come to Bogomil, and then to Windermere and Simeon.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Now, this would be a point where I would want to either split my number or not, or.
Well, here's the thing: is
'cause I'm doing an all-out attack. I'm gonna just
because right now you can't parry missile weapons, so going all out is not a bad idea. Okay.
Nasty. Why did that happen?
I need you to roll a D100 for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Ouch. Ow. So that puts me at what, 30?
So here's what happens. You go running up towards it, and you hit a root that's there, and kind of do that stumble trip, and you lose your grip on your weapon.
Okay.
And essentially you blow your attack. You go up to get him, and I'm going to do his action just because you fumbled. So he's going to try and put this bow shot into you now.
So how did the math work on that? So I rolled
a 3 is a fumble. So I just went straight to the fumble table rather than doing any further subtraction on it. That's the general way to handle that.
Okay, makes sense. Just kind of curious.
And so, but you are up by him, and you get up in his face, and you do manage to kind of knock his arrow aside, and it flies off into the trees. So right now there are 2 centaurs unengaged. The one that you're kind of up on in melee, that's going to have to change to his melee weapon. Let's go see Bogomil. What do you want to do?
Bogomil turns sideways with the back to the brambles and just lets himself fall into the plants.
Okay.
While preparing a song.
Okay. So you're getting that ready. You'll get yourself some cover bonus as you drop back in. Behind you is Windermere. What are you doing to do?
Well, It's not like she's thought about it very hard. All of a sudden, the two big guys in front of her disappear, and she sees some attacking centaurs. But she was like trying to cast her spell earlier, like to have that precast. So, can she let loose right away, or does she still need to prep around?
So that will go off at the end of the round, but we'll consider that you have done your prep. Does that sound reasonable?
All right. That sounds more than reasonable. So essentially what it is she's sort of standing there, and she sees him, and she sort of steps over to the other side of the path from where Bougainville is. She's not very big, so she's sort of behind a bush.
Okay.
But, you know.
So you two are prepping. You're going to have a spell go off at the end of the round. Finally, what about you, Semyon?
How far away is the furthest archer?
Probably about 35 feet.
Oh, okay. Then yes, I'm just very annoyed. This has been a frustrating day full of setbacks and confusion, and I'm just sort of snapping at the furthest one away and trying to do a fast cast blur vision.
Okay, so you will do the prep, and it'll go off on the end of the round. This last bowman centaur is going to take his shot at close range on you, Ilbeard. Try and hit you.
Yeah, try and hit a moving target.
I'll do a -10 for that. So.
Yeah, more falling target than moving target, but.
And your armor type's 14?
14.
14. So again, you are super lucky on this. You just take 5 points of damage. Essentially, he's close, but you've moved up. You're engaged in melee with his friend. So I mean, it just kind of hits across your back, the shot there.
Okay.
Now we're going to roll initiative. But we're going to resolve the two spells first. So let's start with you, Sherry. What does your spell do?
Ouch. I can, on a 5-foot radius, I can do a beat impact critical.
Okay, so you're doing the standard vacuum.
Yes.
On which one?
I think, let's see here. On the one that looks the most ready to, I guess, to fire again. So
yeah, there's one of them that's clearly, of the three, one of them's clearly going to switch to melee. Another one that's engaged in melee is going to switch to melee, and a third one is keeping their bow ready.
Okay. So I'm going to take that one that's sort of already in melee, because he's going to be at full melee versus my fighter. So I'm going to try to put him at a disadvantage.
Okay, let's have you make your casting roll to make sure you don't fumble.
Okay, thank you for making sure. I didn't fumble.
You did fumble, but not a great roll. But now let's have you roll your B crush.
Okay. Damn.
Okay. So you do 3 hits.
Yes.
You have
and I draw his attention.
Yes, and you have initiative on the next round.
Oh, well, that's lovely.
Okay. Patrick, let's see what you're doing with Semyon.
All right. I was going to do the blur vision spell, and fast cast is -25.
Yes.
Exciting. That's a 58, though.
It does go off. And which one are you targeting with that?
The one that still has his bow out.
Okay.
And it's a -100 for missile attacks, -50 for anything else.
Excellent. Let me make his resistance roll. You got a decent thing there. Your mentalism. So that's that. So let's. Yeah. So what does it look like when you blur his vision? What is the sort of the magical effect we see on screen?
I like sort of the shadow bits from other parts of it. So I think he basically starts like weeping, bleeding, dark shadows from his eyes that just like streak down his face. And I don't know, he may like freak out and sort of claw at his face there. But yeah, it's just this constant sort of flow of shadow stuff out of his eyes.
Nice. And Bougainville, are you fast casting or are you casting on the next round? Oh, he stepped away. Sorry. Well, we'll assume he's on the next round. So let's everybody roll those 2d10 for initiative.
He's back.
Oh, are you fast?
Yeah, I prepared the spell for next round.
Okay, awesome. So centaur. So everybody go ahead and give me your initiative.
14.
I have 14.
14. Okay. 14. What did you get, Ilbert?
2.
2. Okay. And you're going first, Sherry. So put that there.
But I also rolled a 15 for later on.
Okay.
And so I go ooh, and I start casting again because this is all I know.
Okay.
Sort of a oopsie.
And what are you preparing?
Let's see here. I think.
So.
I think that are the dunes like encroaching on this area? Like it's like, yeah, there's this forest and these things growing out of it, but like the dune sand and stuff is like sort of rising up from behind them.
No, not really. This is further. That's further away. This is a whole sort of stead of woods here that you're in.
Okay, all right, just good to know. Then I think that I'm going to be Windermere 1 spell for the time being. So I will continue on with another attempt.
So I just hear you go vacuum like that.
Vacuum. Sort of like never say it that way precisely.
Okay. So Bougainville, it's your action. What are you casting?
Yeah, from the shrubbery you hear a very twangy song that is stun, and I'm trying to stun the centaur that is engaging Ilbert.
Awesome. All right, let's have you make that casting roll.
Which is a straight D100.
Yep.
That's a 94.
94. So that's going to be, I know on the charts that much. So let me roll his resistance. Oh yeah. So you hit him with that. What does that stunning song look like?
Well, I'm not sure if there's actually anything visual going on. I said it is. It sounds a little bit like a banjo. It sounds like the banjo duel from Deliverance, I think.
Ding, 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 ding. Okay, perfect. And that
getting faster and faster, and
yeah, and
stunning him.
He will stagger back, and he is vulnerable right now. So that was that. That was that. So he's stunned. So let's go with the centaur with the who's drawn the melee weapon. That is not engaged is going to run up and strike at you, Ilbert. So how do you want to divide your offensive bonus on this round?
Let's do 30 for defense.
Okay. And do you want to apply your shield to this guy?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. That's good because the other guy is stunned, so he's not going to be able to attack you on this round. So minus 60 to his thing, so he is essentially rolling straight on this. And he comes swinging up. He's got this axe that he's pulled out from his side, charges up and swings it at you, and your shield knocks it away as he comes to swing. The other centaur, the one with the bow, is going to take his wild shot at Windermere with a minus 100. So what is your defensive bonus, Windermere? Muted.
My defensive bonus is 5.
Okay. So I'm rolling this. So yeah, the arrow he does this where he fires up into the air essentially because his vision is blurred. He'll drop his bow at the end of that round, realizing that is not going to be successful for him. The guy who you're on is stunned, and he's going to try and pull back away from you, Ilbert, to get his feet under him, and it's your action.
Okay, so that's the one that. Okay, so that was the one that was shooting the bow.
Yep.
Okay. So the one I'm concerned with is the one with the melee weapon. That is not stunned.
Okay.
Did I lose my sword when I kind of did that stumble?
No,
okay.
yeah, you didn't lose your. You just lost your grip a little bit. You didn't fly out of your hand.
Okay. Okay. Then I'm gonna just kind of all out strike at him.
Okay. So you spent 30 on your defense. So you're rolling with a plus 64.
64 left. 135.
135, and he's got shields. So it becomes a 110. So you are going to do a 15 points of damage to him, and you're going to be rolling a D/critical, so a really good crit.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll that critical.
53 on that.
53 on that. So our slash on D53. So you cut him across the chest for an additional 5 hits. And he has to parry next round, and he's bleeding. Essentially, he's bleeding a pretty decent bleed out, like 3 hits per round. So it's a good, solid strike you make there on him. And that's the end of that round. We cut to the beginning of the next round. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Back to that round.
Oh, what did I do? Oh, that's right, because you go on the same thing. Sorry, I should have done you when I did the bard. I apologize.
So in this system, is there any possibility of further magic while concentrating, or does that cut that completely out?
You can't cast while you're maintaining a spell.
Okay. Then I'm going to be moving towards the guy that I have shadowed to, Aikido a horse.
All right. So you keep your concentration and you start moving along so that you can keep a defensive position on that. So you are closing that gap. Now I'll cut forward to the next round and hopefully not skip everybody. Windermere. Muted.
I would like to vacuum the heck out of this guy.
Which
Let's
one?
See here. The one that is.
I just keep picturing a Hoover.
Yeah, exactly. But like he gets clocked with it, right? So one of the old 1960s steel ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the one that's not neither stunned nor blinded.
Okay, so the one that's engaged with Ilbert.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, make that casting roll. Just don't roll a 1 or a 2.
Oh, shush you.
Middle of the road? Okay, then let's have you roll your crush critical B. Ooh.
An 89.
So what you'll see, Ilbert, is this vacuum clearly hits the back of this guy and blows him forward and absolutely knocks this centaur to the ground and drops, and this thing is stunned for several rounds, essentially, as that blow hits him and sends him sprawling.
Yeah, I don't know if it's safe standing up here with her back there.
It's completely safe, Ilbert. Don't worry.
Yeah.
One miss with that thing, and then boom.
That will never happen.
Uh-huh. I heard there was a curse.
Fair enough.
On me.
Bogomil, we've got you've stunned the one foe. We've got a foe that's got knocked down. We've got another foe that's blinded. What do you want to do?
I keep on singing.
Okay. So you keep him stunned. He is kind of knocked back by that. He's easier to hit. He's trying to get his bearings, but he's having a hard time with that. Let's go to our mentalist.
I'm gonna continue maintaining that spell and moving towards the blind guy.
Well, you could move and attack if you wanted on this round.
All right, I'm gonna keto the heck out of that horse.
Okay, so
Trips
I assume
and throws, the best things on quadrupeds.
all right. So this is a sweep and throw attack.
Yep. It'll be, I believe, at a -7 because I'm concentrating for -50.
Yes. Now you could just drop. You could drop the spell and do your full out attack if you wanted.
Well, yeah, but then he could see me.
That's true. So I'm going to say he doesn't have a DB because he had a -50 there. So let's have you roll an attack roll.
That's a 14.
Okay. So what does it look like when you try to Aikido a horse and it doesn't work?
I imagine it's pretty predictable. But yeah, I do a hook around his human waist there, and I go at his vulnerable front hooves, and I think I just like he is a statue. I just slam myself right into his immobile, heavy form.
Awesome. He is going to, since he actually has an action, he is going to try to hit you with his axe. He's at a -50. What is your defensive bonus?
I don't guess I have my shield out for this sort of grappling, so 10.
I don't. Okay, 10. So he is rolling just straight on his attack on you. What is your armor type?
13.
Oh yeah, you actually got chainmail on. You have nothing to worry about.
I'll be fine.
So he does 4 points of damage to you. Essentially, kind of swings it out wildly and clang, hits your shoulder with this axe. He's trying to pull back now because he can't quite see you, but he knows that somebody's up here and grabbed him. Did the bad touch. He's not sure what's going on. Didn't feel like an attack, more like a caress, and he's not.
Sort of a medium massage going on.
Yes, absolutely. I think that brings us the one horse that was knocked to the ground. He's getting up. That's his action essentially on this round. The other one is being held by the stun, so they're both in bad shape.
So we've got two of them kind of taken care of, and the one's getting up.
Yeah. Well, one of them is blinded.
Yeah.
One of them is being held as stunned by your bard song. The other one got really badly hurt, but is standing up.
So it just sounds like an opportunity. I mean, it's a setup. So
sure.
I'm going to go for the one that's getting up to make sure he's going to stay down.
Perfect. Go ahead and roll your attack roll straight. You'll also get to add 25 because he's stunned.
Wow. So
what? Teeny little roll there. Still, that's going to be a 17 D puncture as you drive your blade into him. Go ahead and roll your D puncture.
15.
15. So another 3 hits. What takes him out is not any kind of like vital blow, but it is just the sort of the concussion as you slam the blade into him, and he will crash to the ground out.
And he was the one bleeding too, right?
He is.
Yeah, he's
out for the count. So that was that round. We cut to top of the next round. Sherry.
So essentially, we've got one that's blinded and one that's being held stunned, which means that pretty much from here on out, it could just be a stab fest, correct?
That's correct.
All right. I have, then, since we have this awesome nothing going on. I guess I will pull out my long sword. I will take the wrapping off of it,
Okay.
scribble off the price tag, and walk over and stab the blind one there.
Okay. Please roll to hit the blind
right.
one. He has no
Okay.
DB because he is blinded.
I know. It is kind of a mean thing to do, isn't it?
It kind of is.
That's
It's
all
the
right.
adventure thing to do.
True.
Yeah.
139.
39. So you run up on this thing and you do a 23 E slash.
Oh, this stabbing stuff is easy.
Please roll your E slash.
33.
33. So you hit him in the side for some extra hits, and he is bleeding a little bit from that. He is still up, but you definitely struck him, and he's looks like he's going to swing his sword axe wildly at you.
All right.
But before that can happen, Bogomil, are you keeping the spell up then?
Yeah, Bogomil has a little bit of a bad feeling about this killing of stunned horse creatures. So he stops with a song,
Okay.
and steps out of the path, out to the path, completely covered in brambles in his hair, and he shouts, because now obviously the centaur will regain control over himself, I guess. And he says, "There's no need for killing, friends. No violence, please."
So do you have like a secondary skill in diplomacy, maybe? Or what do you think this would be?
Could be diplomacy. Yeah, why not?
Okay.
That
Or you
sounds
can
like
call
a
it something
second
else.
skill.
What bonus do you want to have with that?
What can I choose from?
There should be a list of secondary skills. I think you've got 250s.
We'll have 50, 240s, 225s.
Yep.
I do the 25 because we already have a diplomat among us.
Okay. Let's have you roll then.
So let's see. Plus 25. Oh, hold on. Uh, 190.
Oh, nice.
Jesus.
Yeah. He recovers from that. He sees, it kind of shakes his head. He sees his buddy down, and he will make a break for it. Essentially, he leaves his stuff and takes off, leaves his friends, because centaurs are jerks. And yeah, he'll run. Okay.
Does the diplomacy also affect my companions, or are they unaffected by my?
That's all player autonomy on that. Which brings us to our mentalist. You will hear that call for nonviolence, but you've got this blinded centaur
that you're hugging.
I'm hugging very close to where a sword just stabbed it, like distressingly close.
Yes.
I mean, I wasn't trying to kill him beforehand, and obviously centaurs are like super strong on their forelegs. But I think pretty sure I've heard about horses that their weakness is their back legs.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna go in and try and like grapple its weak and non-dangerous back legs into submission, so it just stops.
All right, let's have you make that roll.
All right. That's again not awful. 56.
So you go and you kind of grab and maybe do a couple points of concussion damage to it, but it's still blinded. It's swinging around. It's heard the call for nonviolence, but it's blinded. So it is going to take that wild swing at the person who hit it with the sword. What is your defensive bonus there, Wildemir?
Who is muted?
It's 5.
Okay. So this guy is blinded, and he flings his axe off into the distance. It's at that point your ears burn because you probably hear centaur cursing.
Hey! No more curses.
And you can see that he's clearly just going to try and run, blind pell-mell, if you guys let him.
Sure. Step away.
Ilbert, you're the person who has the next action. Do you want to let him go?
The one the
one that's blinded is clearly going to try and on his next action run off.
Okay.
Out of here. If you let him go, he will get away, and he won't be any danger to you.
Yeah, I don't like hitting him because he's blinded. That seems a little low.
Thumbs up. I mean, thumbs up on the blinding.
Your sorceress is a cruel mistress.
I think I'm going to kind of stop for a second and look around. Kind of, it's like, wait, there was another one here, wasn't there?
There was
survey which direction it took off.
The one that ran off just like bolted, pushing through the woods. He just clearly wanted to get the hell out of there, abandon his friends, and not.
So I just want to make sure he's not like falling back and then deciding to attack us at that point.
You have the sort of instincts of a fighter and a monster hunter. Oh no, that guy was running for dear life.
Scared. Okay. Yeah. If this one takes off, I'm not going to hit this one. So
perfect. So this guy will kind of push off from the person who's grabbed his haunch, and will run. There's that hitting of the trees as he bounces into the woods, kind of blinded, and will take off. And you guys kind of catch your breaths, and as you kind of look down, you'll see there's some stuff, like they took off their packs and things in the center, and you will see that cloth kind of shifts and falls away, and you will see this big, glowing, brilliant red egg.
Oh,
bright red egg that's kind of glowing and iridescent. That is clearly what they found, and they had wrapped
that looks
up.
like a big gem, doesn't it?
It does.
It looks like a gem.
It looks like a gem, but it's actually my destiny.
And that's what we'll take up next time with that situation. We'll do roses and thorns at the end of next session because I kind of ran us out of time right up to the 1 o'clock. If you have questions, feel free to send those on to me. Thank you guys very much for putting up with my technical BS right at the start.
Yeah, it happens.
Yes, awful. And at the start of this next session, I'll take some moments to talk, and we'll talk about the system and see what we did, missed, or didn't miss, and make sure that we're on the same page on things. Sound good?
That was super fun.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys very much. I will talk to you all next week or later on in the day, as the case may be.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.